he cannot exert enough power to defeat other characters like Wakatsuki, Toei, Julius, and Rain. Therefore, Carlos can beat Juroda because he's the only one who can land his techniques. What's going to happen when he fights Rain, who is more skilled, much faster, much stronger, more deepness, and possesses insane resilience too? If you disagree with me, I'll leave you with this. If Juroda really was on par with Kuroki and Roland, would Purgatory still be a monarchy? Well, that aged like milk. I won't pretend to be surprised because Juroda is on Kuroki's level, is absolutely the strongest of the A-listers, and is the king's greatest challenger. But those signs couldn't stop me because I didn't know how to read. So, I should be surprised that the Gentle King was able to come out on top against the former king of the Kengan Matches, but it does not surprise me. No matter how many times people said that Agito would win, or how many times they said that they were afraid Juroda would lose, I knew that Juroda was not an underdog, because not only did I see the writing on the wall, but it was burned into my memory. It's said that if you fuck around, you find out. And I've been fucking around long enough to learn that I've made a lot of mistakes, and that Juroda and Agito are closer than I could imagine. Because if it said that Juroda is on Kuroki's level, is absolutely the strongest A-lister, and is the king's greatest challenger, what could Sandrovich be trying to tell us? It's not about what you think. Hell, it's not even about what I think. It does not matter, because this story is written by Sandrovich, and he is allowed to make a great fighter lose to another who is not on the same level. Because no matter what we have to say, he did it in a way that made sense. Juroda could not unleash his true power because he was forced to go easy on Hayami. Otherwise, Juroda would have been disqualified. So I focused on reading. I did not listen to anyone, nor did I think for myself. And what I read was brilliant. Agito always tries to beat his opponents at their own game. And it did not come as a surprise to see him challenge Juroda with judo. Nor was it surprising to see Agito get humiliated, because fighting a master judo practitioner on the ground is like challenging a shark in the middle of the ocean. If I had expectations, they would have been on the mark. But I would have never expected Juroda to give Agito a taste of his own medicine by not only trying to beat him on his home turf, but actually doing it to some success. The magic of Kengan is not just in the unexpected, but the fact that it can be explained. Changing his style, Agito adopted an upright stance, better suited for throwing strikes. So, Agito was using martial arts, which uses pre-initiative to strike before an opponent moves by sensing the inception of intent. But Agito failed to sense Juroda's intent because he never thought that Juroda would use strikes. Juroda does not strike because he has poured everything into judo without giving other martial arts so much as a glance. So, seeing Juroda strike is like seeing a cat bark or a dog meow. There is no way it would not have exceeded Agito's expectations. Also, the swing is a technique that surpasses human comprehension, and when it's used, Juroda's opponents can't do anything to stop it. So, when the swing is used as a feint, Juroda inspires enough caution to create openings for his strikes. And considering his dominance on the ground, Agito will be left open to his strikes. Like how Oma used the threat of Demon's Bane to lock up the Bind of Pieces, how Gowlan used his God Fist as a feint to land a left, or how Kuroki used the threat of the Devil Lance to land an elbow. It's undeniable that Juroda can now fight on a high level. Juroda is no longer the one-trick pony that he once was. But when it comes to mixing martial arts, it did not come as a surprise to see Agito take control. By combining the might of the cold, calculating competitor of martial arts with the ruthless beast unleashed by the formless style, Juroda was forced on the back foot as two masters of different styles fought in unison. And unlike previously, when Agito tried to challenge him with judo, only now could he take his back and submit him. But like when Oma locked up the Bind of Pieces and lost his leg, when Gaolan launched God Glow and was dragged out of the arena, or when Kuroki threw the Devil Lance and got his ribs broken, even at the highest level of competition, it's possible to make mistakes. So, even if you're capable of doing something, it does not mean that you should do it. And in his effort to end the match, Agito left his home turf and entered a territory where Juroda was king. Whether or not he was stubborn enough to prove a point by trying to submit the judo master, Agito could not have anticipated that Juroda would resort to using kamikaze tactics, because not only was the risk too high, but he underestimated Juroda's willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve victory. The outcome of the match could have been different if Agito continued to use his fusion to overwhelm Juroda with strikes. But I would have never expected the match to devolve into a battle of attrition. Receiving the short end of the stick, Agito proved that his will was just as powerful, because despite being concussed, he earned a second chance by surviving Juroda's brutal soccer ball kick and firing the most powerful move in his possession. And refusing to be knocked out, Juroda survived Agito's flying knee and used the last ounce of his strength to bring the match back down to his domain. Even though both fighters had far surpassed their tolerance for violence, they continued to fight, and as one tried to get up, the other dragged him down, and their wills yielded halfway as Agito landed on top and Juroda on bottom. But even as Agito noticed his own error, he continued to fight a losing battle because he was running on nothing but his instincts. So, as Juroda tightened a gi choke, the two collapsed in a pool of their own blood. My heart was beating outside of its chest in anticipation, and I would have been mad if it was a draw. But it was not surprising to see Juroda back on his feet, because it did not need to be a surprise. The tension created by their violent back and forth was enough to make me pay attention to the letters of every word and the contour of every illustration. So, this was not just a fight, but a brilliant fight that can make a few minutes feel like an eternity. An all-time classic.